cooking on a budget class. We're going to do black bean brownies, and we have our cooktop, and we have our ingredients, mise en place. We have them in the order that we're going to use them. And you have your show outline notes right next to you. So the very first thing it says is to place the chips in a water bath, basically is how you melt chocolate. So you're going to have water and a bowl. If you decide, which I don't do that in class because it's a really fast melt. It doesn't have to be totally perfectly smooth chocolate. It's going in a blender. So you have your cooktop all set up. You're going to just get your flame on, and then you're going to start by the first ingredient is 1.5 cups of chocolate chips. I saved out a little handful of them, and that is because we're going to stir those in at the very end. So you're going to let it start to melt, and make sure you're on a pretty low flame. You don't want to burn your chocolate. And you have your blender set up next to you. And put your chips in, start melting them, and then in the food processor, you're going to combine your beans and eggs. I only brought the cans. I've already rinsed them. This is what I advise you to do. Rinse them at home so you don't have to be running around trying to do all these things. So in this recipe, it works perfectly fine to do 2 cans of black beans. But the recipe says, and that's what I normally do, beans and garbanzo. Do whatever you have or whatever you want, but stick with at least 1 can of black beans. These are organic beans. There should be nothing in your beans except beans and maybe a little sea salt, and sometimes even on this Garden of Eden brand, it'll have kombu. Kombu helps break down the beans. So I save my cans because you're giving a health education, so you want to be teaching them these tips. So I leave my cans up there so that they can see what to buy. But I have my beans already rinsed. And it doesn't matter that they're mixed together because they're going to go into the same spot. So you're going to add them to your blender, and then you're going to add in your eggs. So what I recommend is you take each one of your eggs, it's 4 eggs, you're going to crack them and put them in a cup first, because if you get a shell down in there, it's going to be really hard for you to get out. And if you do happen to get a piece of shell in there, what you do is you take the other half of the shell to get the shell out. Shell is like a magnet, so that you're not trying to scoop it out with your finger or with a spoon. It will just kind of float away from you. So you're going to throw your 4 eggs in, and then we're going to process this up. Now our chocolate is already starting to melt. You've combined your beans and eggs. Add your sweetener. This is 2/3 cups of agave nectar. You don't have to use agave nectar. You can use coconut sugar, date sugar, whatever sweetener you decide that you want to use. And then your baking powder. You're going to throw in your baking powder, and then you're going to add your melted chips. You don't want to add your hot chips to your eggs because you're going to have scrambled eggs. Just a big blob of chocolate going down in there. It actually smells good already. Who doesn't like chocolate? And then we're going to do a whole bunch of the little bite-sized cupcakes, and you make them in advance. Then you don't have to wait for this to cook. You just demo how they put it in either a big pan, or you do regular-sized cupcakes, or you do 1 sheet pan. If you're at a place that has an oven, you can do a sheet pan and put it in there, but it takes about 45 minutes. It's up to you if you want to throw walnuts into your batter. I usually top with the walnuts. You can put the cutting boards around for your class, give everybody a little pile of walnuts, and let them cut them up for themselves. It's another little thing you can let them do. And obviously, every class, you are going to ask people if they have allergies. So if they do, and anybody has a nut allergy, got to be super careful, because I'm at a location that doesn't have an oven. Bring a toaster oven. It works perfectly fine. Just make sure that your pan is going to fit in there. So for demo purposes, I'm doing 6 cupcakes. So we're just going to get this into those liners that I've already put in there. I prefer doing it with a liner because I don't want to be worrying about scraping it out to the cupcake tin. You can throw this into a baggie and cut the corner off and squirt it in. And if you're making a whole bunch of those little ones, that is how I advise you to do it. It will get done a whole lot quicker. You're going to fill them about halfway. Now clearly this is a lot in here, so I could be making a bunch of batches. Now supposing this is all I'm making and I'm going to go home with this batter, I'm not going to waste it. I will throw this in a sheet pan, just throw it in your oven, then let your family enjoy it. You never have to waste your food. So we've got our cupcakes in the little tins, and I like to take those chocolate chips and just top it. Throw a couple extra chips in there, and then if you ask them if they don't like coconut, save some out without it. But when you put this in the oven, the coconut is going to toast on top. Really delicious. It actually makes them really pretty. This is unsweetened organic coconut. Again, you know, we're teaching health education, so you want to be really clear on that with your people. Make sure that they understand what you're using. Try to keep your work area clean, so we're just going to clean up our nuts, put them aside. And now we have our toaster oven already preheated. We're going to throw those in there. We're going to ask somebody in the audience to put on a timer for 13 minutes. So if somebody doesn't mind doing that, and then you're going to clean up your little work area. So that's going to come out front now. But I want to show you guys how to. Your audience is sitting here, so you want to try to do this pretty seamlessly. Start thinking about this. What are people seeing? They're sitting there watching you. So you want to try to, as much as you can, keep this area kind of clear so it doesn't block the line of view for them. We have our ingredients out. We tried to do a little mise en place, think color, think balance as much as you can. I didn't mention this to you before, but I want to. You know, you always have to have something to wipe your hands. If you can, hide it behind your cooktop. Hide it behind something that people don't see, so you can just be kind of using it and not having it all over. I went to a cooking class one time, and not only that the person had their back to me the whole time, but they had all these dirty rags all over the table. Looks terrible. So just try to hide stuff like that, because they're going to get dirty. And you can use them for everything. Obviously, you're wiping up all the time, wiping your hands, but you can use it as a pot holder too. So I think our black bean brownies are done. So real quick, again, I'm mindful of my back to the audience. I just want to make sure that I grab my brownies out. And now my brownies are perfect. They're toasted on top. They've been in, this size brownie, they've been in about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to set them up here, let them cool. A great way to balance out your table is to get yourself a little stand, a frame, and you don't have to do this, but it's nice to prop your menu up so people can see. My menu has my information on it, so they know who I am, what I do. You're obviously introducing yourself in a class, but it's great to have that there also. You're also going to have a little thing of your business cards there. Make sure you're passing out your business cards. Now, when you get your books done, because most of you are going to finish the course and have a book in production, then you bring your book with you too, and maybe you prop that up there also. So that's just something that is a great thing to do. And you don't have to, you're not doing it right if you don't have a menu or if you don't have a book, but it's really, really a great way for your credibility. I hear from lots of students all the time. They're like, but I don't know how to do this, or what if I do that wrong? It's like artwork. You can't get it wrong. You can't let yourself start stressing out over that you might not have a recipe perfect. Maybe you created a better recipe. Just don't let yourself get so hung up on it. So there you go. That's basically it. So we are going to take these little beauties out, and if you let them, the trick with the black bean brownies is you have to undercook them a little bit. You kind of want them fudgy. These don't have flour in them. So think about it. Think about the ingredients that were in there. There's no flour. So they're really healthy. There's beans, there's eggs in there. You can make them vegan. I have tried it. They're nice and moist, chocolatey. It's the perfect accompaniment to this. You're going to end up with a little something sweet, but it's really, really low glycemic. And so that's it. How simple was that? Okay, you guys, happy cooking. Healthy begins in the kitchen.